all the same. Get a move on, you lot. Donald was just finding his goods train easy. The trucks were no trouble at all, and they knew better not to cause any tricks. Donald had been very good settling his score with the trucks, that he had found them so easy to handle, and Donald had still begun puffing around the line with his goods train without the trucks causing any trouble, and Donald was still in a very good mood. He had just arrived at the station where the station master was waiting for him. He had some very serious news to tell Donald. Donald, he said, I know you've been having a long journey, but can you please take over Murdoch's passenger train for me, he said. He was supposed to make it this morning, but he had been delayed. Sure, said Donald. I've never pulled coaches for a long time, but I can find them easy as well as trucks. James began to feel very serious. Coaches can't always be that easy to handle, said James. Remember the story of how I had to wear bootlaces? Donald was very cross. Oh, you'll see, he said. I'm very good at handling them coaches as well as trucks. You'll see. And with that, Donald puffed out of the station. Soon he had just had a good spun on the turntable and was ready to find the coaches. The coaches were already at the middle station. Donald and Douglas were mixed traffic engines, but they were still good at handling both trucks and coaches easily, while it was only if they would take an ordinary dislike to them. But Donald had known his talents in the Scottish Railway very well. Just then, however, he had found the coaches at the middle station, and he buffered up to him. But the coaches weren't impressed with Donald. Us, shouted by a goods engine, they shouted. We want a proper engine. Donald took no notice. He was coupled to the coaches, the guard blew his whistle, and Donald puffed out of the station. He began enjoying this, but the coaches all hated Donald. Meanwhile, it became a good run for Donald as he was bossing the coaches well. Come along, he shouted, but the coaches were very cross. We want to pay this ugly Scot out, they said. He doesn't even look like a proper engine. The coaches laughed at themselves, calling Donald rude names, but Donald ignored them. He had just reached the top station. He was almost about to go past it as his driver slammed on the brake. Donald stopped immediately. Whoa, went the driver. Well, he laughed. Better luck next time. Donald felt very embarrassed, but the coaches were amused. Poor engine, they said sarcastically. Always want to do things the hard way. Donald was very cross. The other passengers were on board them, and Donald puffed out of the station. He was even more cross with the coaches. Hurry up, they groaned crossly. We want to go faster. But Donald did go faster. He had just reached Malin Station, where he met Duke. These coaches are doing my heading, he complained to Duke. I should give them a good bump. I don't think that's the answer, said Duke, and the passengers won't like that. But that's what exactly they deserve, he said to Duke. Well, said Duke, just try and ignore them. I was trying to ignore them, said Donald, but they just keep calling me nasty names. Take no notice, said Duke, and Duke smiled. The other passengers were on board again, and this time Donald pushed away. The coaches became even more rude to Donald. We must pay that evil slug out, they said. We must push him off the rails. Donald was still cross. He tried to ignore them, but the coaches were still being mean to him. We hate this idiot, they said, because he's Scottish. But they were trying to hurt Donald's feelings. Goods engines must be scrapped, they groaned. Donald ignored them until she had reached the final station. Just then, however, he had decided to pay the coaches out. He began thinking about his plan. A few minutes later, the passengers were ready to go home. Donald was just about to ignore the coaches' rude behaviour. At last, by doing that was to have a good relaxing spin on the turntable. He began enjoying this, and then the coaches had their last plot. What a stupid engine with a tender that has to spin on the turntable. This made Donald very cross, and with his last moment of anger, he bumped the first coach. How? Groaned the first coach, but it exploded. Splinters of wood and metal laid everywhere. The coach was in pieces. The station master saw what happened. Luckily, the passengers weren't on board this coach. He spoke severely to Donald. Apologetically, Donald told them the whole story, and his driving firemen were trying to get him to clean up the mess. Him in his 15 hours a day train like this is to clean up that mess, said the station master. No, that won't make things better. And with that, Donald sulked sadly to find another way to get the coaches out of the station. It wasn't too long until Bill and Ben had just arrived with the breakdown train to put things right. The coach was still in pieces, but it had to be removed into a flatbed truck. It took a long time to put the coach into the flatbed truck, but the crane had just managed. Bill and Ben puffed away to take it to the works. Until when the evening began, Donald had to take the coaches home tender first. He was coupled to the back of them, and he travelled tender first with them. Whenever Donald had managed to treat them kindly, the coaches were now kind to Donald. Donald was very happy. He began to laugh. Coaches, eh? He said, just like troublesome trucks. That will show James how to handle them easily. And with that, Donald was right. He and the well-managed coaches have just laughed all the way home in the pitch black night.